All right, let's get into it because Zoran Mamdani just announced that all illegal aliens will have access to all of the programs he's signing off on. No questions asked. And if you didn't know, New York is already staring down a $12 billion budget deficit. To put that in perspective, Chicago just had to deal with a $2.6 billion budget deficit tied to a government spending agenda pushed by their mayor, Brandon Johnson. But while all of this is happening, New York is also dealing with a major homelessness problem. And Mamdani is planning to allow 10 cities to remain across New York City. And so things are getting serious. And so make sure you stay tuned because we've got all of that and more. As always, smash that thumbs up button. That's how I know you like the video. Subscribe for more content and share this video. That way more people see what's really going on. Let's get into it.
You know, I am in support of abolishing ICE, and I'll tell you why. Because what we see is an entity that has no interest in fulfilling its stated reason to exist. We're seeing a government agency that is supposed to be enforcing some kind of immigration law, but instead what it's doing is terrorizing people no matter their immigration status, no matter the facts of the law, no matter the facts of the case. And I'm tired of waking up every day and seeing a new image of someone being dragged out of a car, dragged out of their home, dragged out of their life. What we need to see is humanity. And there is a way to care about immigration in this city and in this country with a sense of humanity. What we're seeing from ICE is not it, and we have not seen that from them in a long, long time.
I'll say to your first question that, just to put it very clearly, these are programs for every single New Yorker. These are not programs that are going to ask the immigration status of any one of the children. All of those children are New Yorkers. They should all be enrolled in pre-K and 3K, no matter where they were born or where they come from. And we are also proud to be a sanctuary city. What a sanctuary city means is that we have policies in place, policies that have existed for years in this city, that deny ICE agents access into schools, hospitals, city properties, or even the properties of city contractors, unless those ICE agents can present a judicial warrant signed by a judge. We know that the vast majority of the time, ICE agents are not presenting that kind of documentation. If they're presenting any documentation, it tends to be an administrative warrant, and oftentimes there isn't any documentation even provided.
This is exactly why if Democrats ever regain control again, we're in trouble. Because every day they tell you exactly what they plan to do. Reopen the borders, expand access to government programs for anyone, reduce law enforcement, and then act surprised by results. And so now you have Bill Maher, someone who normally supports the left, who felt compelled to speak out. Even he had to acknowledge exactly what we're dealing with. Take a listen.
It matters that the mayor stands by, and so I assume stands with, someone who says things like, if you don't believe in the government's sacred right to seize private property, it's over. Seize private property. Home ownership is racist. Elect more communists. Private property, especially home ownership, is a weapon of white supremacy. Really? Even among the 20 million black Americans who own their own home? I mean, these are the kind of utterances I might forgive as something a dumb white girl said while she was at Bryn Mawr. Because it's the kind of privilege hating you can only learn for $95,000 a year. But these are statements made as an adult. Yes, for co-eds from elite private colleges, you're only a lesbian until graduation, but the communism lasts a lifetime. Democrats seem to be having this debate whether or not Mayor Mamdani is a socialist or a democratic socialist. Let me settle it. He's a straight-up communist. How do I know this? Well, I'm reading between the lines when one of his major advisors says, elect more communists, which is fine. It's fine. It's a belief system. He's allowed to believe it, and people are allowed to vote for it. But if liberals deny it, like he's just going through a goth phase, they're going to lose more elections. This is not a communist country.
It's just sad because you have so many people who listen to what Mamdani says about the free stuff and taxing the rich, and they just eat it up. They drink the Kool-Aid. without realizing the actual destruction they're doing to themselves. They don't see how New York is going to continue collapsing further and further if he's actually able to do the things he wants to do there. And so while all of this is going on, New York is also dealing with a serious homelessness problem with tent cities that Mamdani doesn't plan on getting rid of. Take a listen.
It is the dead of winter. Another snowstorm is coming, and homeless encampments are still a critical problem in Mayor Mamdani's New York. So how is the mayor going to deal with it? Political reporter Marcia Kramer took her questions to Mamdani in this story that you will see here only on CBS News New York.
They are an eyesore. CBS News New York discovering homeless encampments, 2 on the Upper West Side, 2 in Hell's Kitchen, with many wondering how the new mayor will deal with the twin problems of finding a humane solution and optics that make it look like the city is out of control. This man, afraid to show his face, says he's called 311 repeatedly about the 2 encampments on West 45th Street.
They take the call like they're supposed to, but nothing's really happening.
How do you feel about the fact that nothing's happening?
Well, I don't feel good about it because I've been in this neighborhood for 3 decades, and it's gone back to, the old school ways of, crime and everything else.
Manhattan Councilwoman Gail Brewer telling me she's been trying for weeks to convince Mayor Mamdani's office to find supportive housing for people living among boxes of their possessions in 2 locations on Broadway between 75th and 76th Streets.
I have multiple emails, and people have called 311 over and over again, and it is frustrating. Time to do something.
Mr. Mayor, I wondered if you could indulge me for a second. So I took the problem to the mayor himself, showing him video of people camped on the street in such frigid weather. What is your office going to do about it, and is it acceptable, given the fact that it's 21 degrees, for these people to be there on the street, on the Upper West Side, and getting no help?
It is not acceptable for a New Yorker to have to find shelter outside, whether on the Upper West Side or anywhere in this city. New Yorkers should be able to find a place to call their home. And what I have said consistently, first as a candidate and now as the mayor, is that outcomes are how we judge ourselves.
Mamdani said he would not follow former Mayor Adams' approach of removing the encampments. He wants to take a softer approach, convincing them to come in from the cold. I spoke to a man living on the street on the Upper West Side, and I asked him, would you go into supportive housing? Would you, and he said, sure, I would go into supportive housing if somebody would offer it to me.
That's why at the heart of this has to be the connection with services that they want, that they will use, that they will actually utilize.
So were you satisfied with the mayor's answer?
I think it put him on notice that he has to come up with an answer. I've been talking to the deputy mayor every day, and she's approaching it in a clinical way. Well, the clinical way is now, and she has to find them housing. I hope that's what, thankfully, you did.
Another man I spoke with today said city shelters aren't for him because he doesn't feel safe.
And so you heard that. And so the real question is, how is he going to pay for all of this? Because with a $12 billion budget deficit, the only solution you keep hearing is tax the rich. And I don't see how that's going to work out because, believe it or not, New York doesn't have a revenue problem. Tax revenue actually increased. What New York has is a budget problem, it has a spending problem, and a problem where Mamdani has made promises convincing people that the government can solve all of their problems. And history shows that it never works like that. Unfortunately, the people who voted for him are likely going to have to find that out the hard way. And so we'll see. But those are my thoughts. Now I want to hear from you. Don't forget, smash the thumbs up button. That's how I know you like the video. Subscribe to the channel for more content. And as always, until next time.